Mandy Vera turned on video. Okay, so you turned on video, but Mandy, I still can't see you. Can you see me?
No, I can just see myself.
Okay, you only see yourself. That is funny. Why is that? So let's see. That is so funny because usually I never experienced this problem. So let's see.
I'm not sure. I do have internet, so I don't know why this is happening. I just actually restarted my router.
I see. Okay, perhaps. Yeah, because so they can see both of us, Mandy. So it's okay as long as the audience can see both of us. I mean, of course, I would have loved to see you and see the animals, but at least we can continue with the show. So okay, wonderful. All right. So, Mandy, are you okay with that? That we probably can see each other? Okay, perfect. I mean, we have talked in the past, so we know we have met, we have seen each other before, so we know how we look like. I'm very glad that our listeners can listen to us and can see both of us. So, Mandy Vera is a very, very courageous woman, somebody with a lot of integrity, somebody that I learned to admire by watching her firsthand over the last few years. So Mandy is the founder of a Black Sheep retreat and animal sanctuary down in Cancun, Mexico. So Mandy, this brings in a very natural question. How did you end up in Cancun? Why not run a sanctuary here in California? Because you're originally from California.
I'm originally from Rhode Island.
Oh, nice. But I thought you lived in the Bay Area for a while.
No, I just helped with activism in the Bay Area.
See, okay, get it. Okay, so you're from Rhode Island. So let me rephrase the question. Why not have a sanctuary here in the United States? Why Mexico?
Yeah, well, the whole reason is actually because you can't see right now, but I have a black sheep with me, Noche, and he's the whole reason for the sanctuary being here. So I was actually here working as a scuba dive instructor, and we had a group, an animal rights group, and he was rescued, thinking that we had a sanctuary to take him to, but it turned out to be a working farm when we got there, and we couldn't leave him there. I was given very bad choices. It was basically either give him up for slaughter and exploitation or stay with him because nobody else wanted to take the responsibility. And there were only 6 other sanctuaries in the country, and they were all full at the time. So we built a sanctuary. We rescued. It was me actually. Rescued other animals and built the sanctuary. And we've gone through a lot of trials. With visa, with getting the land, we have to buy the land in cash because I'm a foreigner. We've gone through a lot of trials and error, but the main reason was just because I could never rescue somebody and then let harm come to them. So I kind of picked up my life and moved here for good and permanently. Ready?
Wow. And so tell us a little bit more about your veganism and about your activism. So when did you become vegan? And how, what inspired you to take the decision? And from becoming vegan to becoming an activist to becoming a founder of a sanctuary, how did that process and timeline come about?
So I became a vegan about 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago now. Time is going by. I was already vegetarian at the time. Noche is eating some watermelon ice cubes and getting it all over me. But I was vegetarian at the time, and I actually was just scrolling Facebook, and I didn't know about the dairy industry, so I saw a small article, maybe like 3 paragraphs on the dairy industry and what they do to cows. And that's how I went vegan. And I just became emotionally overwhelmed with what happened to the animals, and being vegan didn't feel like enough, so that's when I got into activism. And I've done all kinds of activism. I've done direct frontline activism and cubes, outreach, disruptions, really every type of activism, and animal liberations, and that's part of how we ended up here, animal rescue and animal liberation. Noche, give them some. And I had to run a sanctuary. It takes so much time and work, and also being a foreigner, I cannot do a lot of activism in Mexico without risking my visa and the animals' security here. So I cannot do activism here. I used to still travel back to the U.S. for activism, but as our sanctuary has grown and we've adopted and rescued more animals, I can no longer travel. So the sanctuary really takes up so much time that I had to choose and do sanctuary work rather than activism. However, I really see sanctuary work as the foundation of activism, because I couldn't have done any of my outreach. I could have done outreach, but no resources for happy animals and what they should look like. And I couldn't have done animal liberation, animal rescue, if there was no place for that animal to go for lifetime care. So I think sanctuaries are a huge, huge part of activism. That's 24/7 work and lifetime care to the animals. And just, it's so much that I do think it's a very important part of activism.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. It is. And I mean, sanctuaries really are the backbone of the vegan movement, and they should be. And in addition to what you said in terms of housing the rescued animals, but animal sanctuaries are the most powerful educational centers, because there is nothing as powerful as coming face to face with an animal or crossing paths with an animal. It's really, really hard to look away after that. And silence is the biggest weapon in the hands of the meat industry. And then vegan animal sanctuaries are doing the exact opposite. And absolutely, that's why they hold a very, very special part in my heart and the hearts of many. So, Mandy, in your experience and over all these years, what would you tell somebody who would like to start a sanctuary? Because people have this sort of romantic idea. And of course, there is that amazing feeling being around the animals and all of that. But it is very, very hard work. It's a real commitment. You're taking these lives. These lives become dependent on you, and these lives are really, really need you in all kinds of ways. And these are like children; they become your own children. So this is a real type of commitment. What would you tell somebody who comes to you, telling you that they're just gonna open a sanctuary and it's just gonna be very, very easy?
Sanctuaries are so needed, so of course I want to encourage people to open them, but I think that it's really important to fully understand, to work closely with another sanctuary first, so you do, because as much research as you can do, you're never prepared for the constant, you get sick, if somebody in your family gets sick, somebody's in the hospital, it doesn't matter, you have to be here for the animals. And I think sometimes people can jump into it and take on too much, and then that can leave the animals in a bad place. So I think it's really important to spend time volunteering with animal sanctuaries and supporting animal sanctuaries so that you really see what goes into it, because you can have an idea, but it's really so much more than the animal care. And the animal care itself it's rewarding, of course. This is Kumalo. She was rescued from a local slaughterhouse at about 2 weeks old. But yeah, the animal care itself it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of stress, and early mornings, late nights, long days, it never ends. But then there's also everything, the scenes. There's so much paperwork. Fundraising is a full-time job, and it takes a lot of money to run a sanctuary, more than you really can fully grasp until you run a sanctuary. So there's fundraising, there's merch, finding people to help, all of the projects, building, not to mention the daily care, keeping up with the habitat, with the constant things that are always having to be redone and kept up with. So the social media work, which is another full-time job, it's just so much. There's really so many full-time jobs, all the paperwork, the taxes, the nonprofit organization, everything like that. So it's really just like, be prepared to completely give up all parts of yourself and give them to the animals. Like, for me, I've given up my social life and activism and my home country. I given up a lot, and everything is, I mean, I work 12-hour days, 7 days a week, so just be ready to live and exist only for the animals, and hopefully you have a partner who you can do it with. A partner is definitely very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, of course, we'll be very, very happy to see more sanctuaries. But then, just so people understand that it's a real commitment, and it takes somebody like Mandy, somebody who look inside of their soul, and and they realize this is really something that they really, really wanted to do, because it's something that is extremely, extremely important to the animals, and something that really, really defines who they are as people. And of course, there are other things that come with all of that, including looking into the eyes of these animals day in and day out. So, Mandy, also tell us, what's the thing about animals that, in spite of the challenges that you have been through over the last 3 years, in terms of securing the land and in terms of safety, all these challenges that, and as I said, your commitment to the animals is incredibly inspiring. What is it? Well, that one thing about the animals that when you see, you decide, this is worth it. I'm going to fight another day.
I'm sorry. What is it about the animals when I see what? What was the end of your question?
That inspires you, that when you look at them, you decide, this is all worth it, and I'm going to stay here and fight regardless of anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like that's a given, and I don't even know what makes me think that, but I mean, I can always, when I'm having very bad days and it's very difficult, I can always remind myself that I'm one person who's changed the lives of about 100 animals at this point. And for as hard as it is, it's whatever I'm going through is nothing what these animals would have gone through if they weren't rescued. And that makes everything, no matter what I have to go through, to give this many animals a good life is really what makes it worth it. And that love that they feel, I think that helps ripple out, depending especially on the animal that I work with. Sometimes it's wildlife, so I think that helps just ripple out into the world and create small effects as well.
Yeah. Wow, very, very inspiring. And in over the last few years, the last year in particular, since launching the Vegan Stay and coming across founders of vegan sanctuaries, and in retrospect, it made a lot of sense. The vast majority are actually women, people who are in this space. So I just want to remind our listeners that this is a very, very sort of a special breed of a human being. Learn out to be mostly female. I mean, there are males, of course, but the profile is very high levels of empathy, conscientiousness, resourcefulness, and courage. This is, if you ask me how I would define people like Mandy, this is exactly the words that I'm going to use. And so, Mandy, in terms of support, for sanctuaries, I know that the backbone of many sanctuaries are two things. One of them, so if it's a larger sanctuary, of course, it has staff. But then if it's a smaller sanctuary, it's usually two things. I mean, even for the larger sanctuaries, actually, these two things in addition to the staff. Volunteers and financial support through donations and sponsorships and all kinds of things. Could you please tell us a little bit more about volunteering at your sanctuary? And considering how remote it is, do you offer remote? Is there opportunities for people like me to support you remotely in whatever skills that we have?
Yes, so I have opportunities. I don't have like an open volunteer program because it does for some, because we are so remote. We're in Cancun, Mexico. So if somebody was to come live on property and volunteer in that sense, it takes a couple months to train somebody, and usually that's all that they can stay for or around that time. So it's a lot of work put into training, and then it's just kind of a revolving door. So we have instead turned what can be also a volunteer house into a guest house. So we can offer sanctuary experiences where people come and stay overnight for a suggested donation, or you can just come for a day tour. And then that suggested donation can help us get the things done and have that financial stability that possibly in the future we can hire certain part-time help or anything like that. But we do still have opportunities. For example, right now I'm rehabbing raccoons and I'm having to build a raccoon habitat. And anybody who would be into construction, and because I have an iguana back here as well. He was rescued from tourist photos, from being exploited for photos on a very busy area. He needs a little bit of a touch up to his habitat. Excuse me. The pigeons, they need a touch up to their habitat. So I am looking for anybody who has construction experience, and I offer it that way. So usually when I'm looking for specific timing, we'll have a volunteer come in, or for example, sometimes my mom stays with me and sometimes she goes away. So I'll have spots open for volunteers then. But otherwise we keep it as the guest house for the sanctuary experiences.
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't able to hear all of it because there was a little bit of interruption. I mean, but it's okay. And the signal, I just want to remind our listeners that we usually struggle with this when we have the live sanctuaries, and that reminds you that it's usually the locations are outside of the city, so it's not usually not ideal Wi-Fi connection, but we usually make them work, and this is just shows you something that we take for granted as simple as Wi-Fi signal. That is for people like Mandy, it is actually a struggle considering the location that they are in. But that makes us the more thankful for them. So you said this it appears to be like a work stay kind of program, and you said it's up to 2 months. And then if somebody would like to find out more, so do they contact you through the usual locations, the website, and through social media? Is that correct?
Actually, what I had said is we offer specific time for volunteers. For example, if I have a specific project, rather than much of a work stay. Just because the work stay, because we're so remote, the work stay is kind of a quick turnover, and it's so much training goes into training volunteers in order to be able to do this work. So we do more of the sanctuary experience, and then if we have specific tasks, like I need help building out the raccoon's habitat, then we have a place for volunteers to stay.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Contact us through Facebook or through Instagram or through our email, which I'll actually put in the live chat.
Okay, perfect. I think one thing that we can do together is that we can create a post. I just spoke to the social media person in my team and sort of directing them to create more things create just a corner, maybe sometimes even pin them for a while to support sanctuaries with particular needs at particular times. So they will have it on their social media, but then we could also have it on our social media. We can share it with them, and so that more people will be able to see it. And also, I would like to remind our listeners, whether people listening to us live, and there are quite a few actually, or the people listening to this recording, please follow Mandy's page, Mandy Vera, and also Black Sheep Retreat and Sanctuary, and even supporting, sending messages just to say, Mandy, thank you for all that you do. Words of encouragement and love are very, very important, and also that we allow you to be able to see the fundraisers that Mandy shares when particular needs arise. And also for people who don't follow us, please follow us on the Vegan Stay, and our work is centered around supporting sanctuaries worldwide. And Mandy is one of the people, as I was saying earlier, that from the very, very beginning, I was discussing this with her, that before just was an abstract idea. And now she got to the place where she's adding the experiences, and she'll be adding the stay and all the things that she offers, and we are incredibly honored and pleased to be working with her. So Mandy, I know it must be very very, very hot for you and humid. I don't want to keep you for very long. Let me just, perhaps another time we can have a longer live when the weather is a little bit cooler. But I was wondering if you have anything else you would like to share before we wrap up this brief live today.
No, just that we are, just to reiterate, we are open for anybody who wants to come for a tour or a sanctuary experience and meet the animals. We just have suggested donation, and contact me to schedule that if you're on vacation near Cancun. We're about 30 minutes from the Cancun airport.
Okay, wonderful. And then all the logistics, Mandy is on top of all of that. And it shows you just really how many hats she wears during the day, and she wears them incredibly competently, patiently, and gracefully. And as I said, Mandy is one of the people I find to be the most inspiring. So Mandy, next time let's make sure that we have a longer live when the weather is a little bit better and we can visit with the animals and we do a little bit more things. Today, just wanted to touch base, just say hello. I know you're under a time crunch, and as I was saying, that it's midday for you, and the weather must be there very, very humid and very, very, very hot. So yeah, I really, really look forward to talking to you again, and thank you so very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you so much for your time as well, and for all your support.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just the beginning, and as many things are being processed right now. We are getting ready to have some major updates to put on our social media, so people know all the kind of progress that we are doing, supporting people like Mandy that put it on the line day in and day out is something that is incredibly personal to me, and this is just the beginning. I cannot wait where this takes all of us. Mandy, thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you for being such an inspiration. You are very, very courageous. You're somebody with very high level of integrity. Thank you for being an inspiration to all of us.
Oh, thank you for all you do for sanctuaries as well.
Absolutely. We will make sure that we will organize another live at a different time when the weather conditions are a little bit better. Bye, okay. Mandy. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.